Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club, and more specifically, welcome to This Is My Life, and it's a couple of episodes that I'm putting together just to document my life, so that I can express the things that I've done over the years and pass it on to my children and grandchildren, should ever they wish to listen to it and recount the life that a first generation Greek Australian would have experienced growing up. So just going back to some of the key experiences, some of the key milestone experiences that I had growing up. I think some of those memories that are etched into my brain are the things like going to the dentist. I remember dreading going to the dentist as a kid because I grew up in a shop. My parents had a milk bar at Kingsgrove, on Kingsgrove Road, on the corner of Mashman Avenue and Kingsgrove Road. And I basically grew up on soft drinks, chocolates, chips, lollies, ice creams, you name it. That was my staple diet. And dare I say, the staple diet of most children growing up in the 60s. I remember coming home from school and just going to the lolly counter and just stuffing my pockets with freckles, cobbers, and other chocolates and lollies, and then heading out and just going and spending the rest of the afternoon playing with my friends in the park, getting on my bike, getting on my scooter. Whatever mode of transport I had was either a scooter, a pump-up scooter, or a bicycle. And the sort of bicycles that I had growing up were things like a Dragstar style of bicycle. And I remember growing up free range. Because my parents worked 7 days a week in their own business, they had to run their own shop, and my father would, the hours of the shop were quite horrendous when I look back and think about it. They were 7 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, and in our shop at Kingsgrove, that's the one that I remember growing up in when I was a kid, there was a pub across the road, and the pub would close at whatever time it would close, and my father would have to endure the ordeal of having to serve drunks coming over, calling him a wog, and there'd be fights all the time. My father, I guess, like me, and I, like my father, are very passive, easygoing sort of people who don't like confrontation and don't like arguing. So it would have been tough in those days for the migrants who were here in Australia trying to be of service, run a business, and yet have people pissed as farts coming into the shop and demanding certain things and being quite aggressive about it. I remember as a teenager, my parents had a shop at Oatley, the chicken shop at Oatley. And I remember a couple of guys coming from the pub, and they'd probably had a few to drink, and they were just carrying on, and my mother told them to leave, and they wouldn't leave the shop, and they were very abusive, and I was just a 13, 14-year-old. I remember watching the ugliness unfold, and my father then stepped in and told them to leave the shop, otherwise we'll call the police. And they kept on carrying on and abusing and calling my father a fucking wog, which was just a commonplace sort of reaction in those days. whatever you do, whatever you say, whatever you'd stand up for your rights, the comeback would always be that terrible term, which incidentally it doesn't bother me anymore. I'm proud to be of Greek descent, and if you call me a wog, then it doesn't scar me, doesn't hurt me anymore. I've learned to live with it, and I've learned to be proud of it. But on this particular occasion, my father ran over to pick up the phone to call the police for them to come and get these yobbos, these idiots, out of the shop, and they proceeded to pick up some drinks that we had on the counter there. You know, those drinks, those animal-shaped drinks, which had the reddish and green cordials in them, and they picked them up and they were hurling them at my father, who was at the phone, busy trying to dial the police. And it was very, very disturbing and very, very embarrassing from my behalf, because there's nothing I could do. I was just a minor, and to see my father being abused and my mother in distress was quite painful. But anyway, after they threw all the drinks and caused the mayhem that they caused, they left and went back to the pub. But like everything, we sorted it out. The police came, and my father and my mother issued their official complaint, and the police went down to the pub with my father, where he singled out who these individuals were, and the police gave them a stern warning, took down the details, and told my parents if ever they came back and behaved in a way which was inappropriate, just to call them, and given that they had the details, that they would then come and arrest them and deal with them in a more sterner way. But that was just a normal way, I guess, of growing up in those days. And I get a little bit emotional thinking about it. Not that it bothered me, but that it bothered my parents immensely, because they had come from the other side of the world, having left World War II, having left Civil War, having broken away from their parents, from their siblings and loved ones, and having to start afresh in this country. And everybody had their own challenges, regardless of where you were in Sydney. If you were running a business, you had many challenges, but they got through it. You know, they ran the business there. And incidentally, those customers ended up becoming good customers of ours. Once the police sorted them out, then they became a little bit more respectful, and they'd come in and we'd, of course, serve them, because our job was to be of service to the community. And then it was all okay after that. But, you know, as you understand, it was a stressful time for my mother and father. So dentists, I remember going to the dentist as a kid and always having issues with my teeth. Every dental visit was an opportunity for the dentist to give me a needle and to give me a filling. Even though I washed my teeth, I guess the structure of my teeth, given that they had quite a few fissures, I think the dentist called, and crevices and edges in my teeth, meant that regardless of how good I was at brushing my teeth, I was always going to have issues with decay. And I had quite a few fillings growing up, and that's basically the challenge that I faced from a very, very young age, having teeth pulled out and having fillings. And even now, you know, at the age of 61, I've got Invisalign in my teeth to straighten out the teeth. I should have done it earlier in my life, but I never thought it was a priority. I just didn't want to be 25 years of age or 20 years of age and having to wear the steel braces that were very normal for people growing up in the 60s and 70s and 80s. But these days you've got the Invisalign, which is the invisible plastic alignment mechanism that you can fit into your teeth, and that can help straighten your teeth, and it's done a wonderful job with my teeth, may I add. And the reason why I did it was both cosmetic, but also from a dental perspective, because my dentist said that if I didn't straighten my teeth, then I'd be chipping away and wearing away at the enamel there, and I'd have more issues growing up. So as I mentioned before, I grew up in Kingsgrove, living free range with a lot of my school friends. I had Australian friends, and I did have also a couple of Greek friends, one in particular, Alec Pappas, who I spent probably most of my time growing up when I was in primary school. And the other benefit I had having a Greek friend is that we could celebrate Easter, and I'd spend quite a bit of time at his house, and because his parents were very religious and spent a lot of time looking after Alec and his sister Laura, I did get an opportunity to get a taste of living within a Greek family outside of my family and friends and relationships. So I did learn quite a bit from Alec and his family, and I got an appreciation of what it was like to grow up in a Greek family, as I said, outside of my own family. So I think I'll leave it there. So that's another episode of This Is My Life. Just giving you, or giving my family and giving myself an opportunity just to reflect on what it was like growing up. And I'll have a number of examples that I'll be able to bring forward to put together this little episode, and I'll be able to weave together some experiences. But I did get a bit emotional there, so I didn't think that I'd be able to tap into some emotion there. But many migrants growing up, just like the Muslims and Vietnamese and other and the ones from Africa today, are probably receiving the bad end of racism. Many Greeks, Italians have been able to both assimilate and to have their culture accepted and appreciated with the foods and the restaurants, and the opportunity that a lot of people have had over the years to travel to Greece and to find out how cool Greece and the Greek islands are. So all of a sudden, we came from being the WOG, the despised foreigner, the despised outsider, to being the cool guys on the block a little bit old when we grew up, because people, as I said, were able to go to Greece and have the time of their lives and to learn a little bit more about what makes us run, what makes us operate, and appreciate and love us a little bit more. So that was quite fortunate. Anyway, let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, pull your finger out of your bum and start to vlog a little bit about your history, a little bit about your life, and create your own This Is My Life, and be the author and the key actor in your episode, so that you can leave a legacy to your partner, to your children, to your grandchildren, and to anybody else, because we had a very, very important role to play in this country. And hopefully, just like we pay homage and respect our elders past and present, maybe future generations will be able to look back at their ancestors, the people who led the way, who were the first to do many things in this country for their families and communities, and to be respected, and to be of entertainment, should I say, to those who come after us. Hopefully we can be ancestors that people are proud of, and that people can depend on, and that we and our traditions, our customs, our learnings, our wisdom can be passed on to future generations. And just like we have added to what we've received, so we've embellished the beauties of our culture that we receive, hopefully others will be able to take what we pass on to them and to embellish it and to add to it and to make it even better. So take care. Yasas, Filakia from Jim, from Jim's 5am Club. And I look forward to chatting to you again about other wonderful experiences that I've had in my life and things that have been important and dramatic and an important foundation in my development and growth. Yasas, kita lema mata. Bye for now.